Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. So I'm getting ready to start on my next project, which is going to be a spare car for my son. And as his girlfriend learns how to drive, she's going to drive one of the cars, but they're going to have two older cars. So the next time his head gasket dies or whatever, I don't have this big emergency to get him back up and going. They'll still have a car to drive. So this is a 99 Saturn. I think it's a SC1 or something. I helped a friend of mine who's a mechanic who, this used to be his son's car. And it had problems. We swapped the engine. That engine went bad. Like the next day, we tried to fix this one and put it back in, and it still has the same problem. And so, now I have it. I'm going to try to fix it for my son. The problem with this car is really, it probably needs a whole new engine because it is smoking a little, you know, it's worn out. But the problem is that it's putting oil in the coolant. Not much. I mean, there was a little evidence of some coolant in the oil, but it's not a milkshake. I mean, the oil is good and clean on there. So it's not milkshaking, but it's thrown oil into the coolant, and it threw it into the coolant so much that the radiator and stuff's going to all have to be flushed back out. We did this when we swapped the engine the first time. It just turns it into a sludge factory inside the engine and the radiator. So I'm sure that's going to have to all be flushed out again. What we did was fill it up with water and Dawn dishwashing detergent and let it run. And just, you know, keep draining it, keep filling it back up, and it eventually cleaned itself out. So this is the 1.9 liter single overhead cam engine. They make this in a dual overhead cam engine. That one's a lot more popular in the junkyards and stuff. It just seems to be a more popular one. Single overhead cam was not as popular. But what these have, I think they made them 96 through 99 or something. One of the cam journals will crack, usually this one on the end. And once that cam journal cracks down on the head, the pressurized oil that's coming from the cam to the cam bearings will pressurize and go into the coolant. It won't allow much coolant back because it's constantly under pressure. So even when the coolant gets hot, it's not generating more pressure than the cam's forcing into it. And of course, the real solution is just to replace the head. Now, the engine that we swapped out and put in this, it threw a rod like the next day. But it seemed to have a good head. But we gave that engine back to, we returned it. So we didn't get the head off of that, and they done threw it in the car and crushed it. You know, as scrap. So I went down to the junkyard. They had one more of these sit down there, and I went down and pulled the head yesterday. The next nearest head was like 83 miles away from me. So I was happy that they had one. To take this head off isn't terribly hard. You got to pull the power steering pump, pull the compressor, loosen this intake, set it back, loosen the exhaust manifold, set it back. You have to take out the timing cover. So the serpentine belt, this motor mount has to come off. You have to pull the crankshaft pulley. Then there's a bunch of 10mm bolts down in there you have to get to and take those off. Take this line off, this radiator hose, you know, and then pop it up. Not an extremely hard job, but not as easy as a Honda head, right? Yeah. So, what I did was I got a head yesterday, so I'll take you out and show you that. So this is the head I got. I'm just kind of soaking her down with some engine greaser. And I'll pressure wash it off. Just get it nice and clean. I'm going to check the valves in it to make sure they're still sealing. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten it out a little bit. Make sure it's good and flat. And it'll seal up. I got my parts ordered from the Rock Auto to put this back together. So it's gonna be about a week before they get here. But we're just letting her soak. This has only got 8 valves in it, so if I have to relap valves, I don't have to do 16. It's got a camshaft. We'll pull that out. We'll check for cracks and make sure it's all good before we go to all the work to put it on. And then we'll be set. All right, folks, so gonna work on this old girl, get her going. I think that's gonna kind of be the focus of my channel for my car repairs, is fix your old rusty piece of junk, right? Like you have an old rusty crusty beater with a heater that gets you back and forth to work in the grocery store. Now in Ohio, we don't have any type of vehicle inspections. We don't care if there's a check engine light, right? There's no stickers that you have to get, no tests, right? A long time ago, they tried to do some emissions testing and people finally voted that out or whatever, and we don't do it anymore. So we don't have anything like that. No emissions testing, no vehicle inspections, no stickers, no special things. We only pay like 50 or 60 bucks for our plates every year. And, you know, we're lucky that way over places like New York, which is crazy, right? Which I still say, you know, you need to make sure your car is safe. It has good ball joints. It has good tie rod ends. You know, things are good. But you don't care if you have an evap system light on your 99 car, right? You really don't care. Yeah, I'm just going to make this kind of the focus of my channel, which is how to fix your old rusty crusty cars the cheap way, the home way, that I don't have any money, I'm just trying to get back and forth to work again kind of way. I mean, we're just going to get it done and get it fixed and get it working, hopefully. Alright, now we gotta tear the cam out of this and check the journals. And then we'll be ready to pretty much finish cleaning her up. Check her for warpage, we'll check the valves. Just get her as good and ready as we can. Okay, so you can see down in there is your journal. We'll shine some light down on it. And I don't see any cracks. The TSB said the cracks normally directly at the bottom of those journals. When it happens, it cracks right in the bottom of that loop. And it doesn't look like it's cracked at all. So I'll check the next one. It doesn't look like it's cracked at all. And the next one doesn't look like it's cracked at all. And the next one it doesn't appear to be cracked at all. And we'll just check this very end bearing race. It's not cracked. So I'd say we are 100% good there. They don't develop cracks on the top according to the TSB, you know. And I believe the coolant passage, there's a coolant passage that runs directly under that cam journal, and then it'll crank. And then the high pressure oil, which the oil actually I believe flows in down here or here. So it's by the highest pressure part of the oil, and that will squeeze the oil down into the coolant because it's under pressure. So now we're ready to just clean her up and put her back together. I'm going to go ahead and check to make sure the valves aren't leaking with the pressure washer. And I'll show you how to do that. I just shoot water in here at a high pressure and see if it leaks past the valve. If it leaks past the valve, I'll have to remove the valve and try to lap it and get it good again. I don't have any new valves for this, so I'm hoping I can get one. If one's leaking, I'm hoping I can seal it up with a little lapping. Then we'll just have to clean off all the surfaces and put the cam back in, put assembly pre-lube on it, you know, all that stuff. And then make sure we're good to go. Okay, so now we just and we look for any leakage up at the valve. There's none. That one leaking. Okay, we'll check these other ones. That one's leaking. That one's not leaking. Not leaking. So those two valves were the valves that were open, and I think moving it across my workbench scraped up some of that wood, and there's some wood stuck under them. So I am going to go ahead and clean it. Now let's test that one again. leaking. We'll test the exhaust one again too. Not leaking. No, I believe this exhaust one was the one that was leaking. Yeah. So that one was partially open and scraping across the workbench too. So we'll just have to clean it. Now we'll test it. Just leaking ever so slightly. We'll clean it some more. Not leaking anymore. Alright. So that was just where the wood scraped off my workbench, and then I closed the valves on top of it. That's all that was. Getting close, but we still have some low spots in here. Just about there. We have a little low spot right on this one. Somebody has wire brushed the hell out of this. It's still a little low spot. Let me just go over it just a little more for this right here, and then I'm pretty much done. Yeah, that's good. Alright, now let me get my feeler gauge out, and we'll check to make sure this is good and true. Alright, I have my 1.5 thousandths feeler gauge out here, and now I'm just gonna check it, make sure that doesn't slide through anywhere. Then we're going to check it at an angle. We're going to check it at the opposite angle. So she's less than 1.5 thousandths. We'll check it this way too. All right. So she's less than 1.5 thousandths, and none of the valves are leaking. So she's good. I'm ready to reassemble. I'm not going to reassemble it today, but yeah. So I'm done for today. I'm tired. It's the weekend. It's Sunday. I got to go to work tomorrow. I've done cut the grass. I've done rinsed on the car some. I'm getting the timing cover off. I'm ready to go inside and relax.